Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavarinyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tvise Namaha. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anjalila chapter 12, the Lord's dealings with Jagadananda Pandit. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, verse 128. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept his hands raised and would not accept the prasadam until Jagadananda Pandit, with great affection and love, spoke the following words. Please first take prasadam yourself, and I shall eat later. I shall not refuse your request. In great happiness, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then accepted the lunch. When he had tasted the vegetables, he again began to speak. Even when you cook in an angry mood, he said, the food is very delicious. This shows how pleased Krishna is with you. Because he will personally eat the food, Krishna makes you cook so nicely. You offer such nectarian rice to Krishna. Who can estimate the limit of your fortune? Jagadananda Pandit replied, he who will eat has cooked this. As far as I am concerned, I simply collect the ingredients. Jagadananda Pandit continued to offer the Lord's varieties of vegetables. Out of fear, the Lord said nothing, but continued eating happily. Jagadananda Pandit eagerly forced the Lord to eat so much that he ate 10 times more than on other days. Again and again, when the Lord wished to get up, Jagadananda Pandit would feed him more vegetables. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dared not forbid him to feed him more. He just continued eating, fearful that Jagadananda would fast if he stopped. At last, the Lord respectfully submitted. My dear Jagadananda, you have already made me eat 10 times more than I'm used to. Now please stop. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood up and washed his hands and mouth, while Jagadananda Pandit brought spices, a garland and sandalwood pulp. Accepting the sandalwood pulp and garland, the Lord sat down and said, now in front of me you must eat. Jagadananda replied, my Lord, you go take rest. I shall take prasadam after I finish making some arrangements. Ramai Pandit and Raghunath Bhatta did the cooking, and I want to give them some rice and vegetables. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told Govinda, you remain here. When the Pandit has taken his food, come inform me. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said this and left, Jagadananda Pandit spoke to Govinda. Go quickly and massage the Lord's feet, he said. You may tell him, the Pandit has just sat down to take his meal. I shall keep some remnants of the Lord's food for you. When he is asleep, come and take your portion. Jagadananda Pandit thus distributed remnants of the Lord's food to Ramai, Nandai, Govinda and Raghunath Bhatta. He also personally ate the remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then the Lord again sent Govinda. The Lord told him, go see whether Jagadananda Pandit is eating, then quickly return and let me know. Seeing that Jagadananda Pandit was indeed eating, Govinda informed the Lord, who then became peaceful and went to sleep. The affectionate, loving exchanges between Jagadananda Pandit and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued in this manner, exactly like the exchanges between Satyabhama and Lord Krishna related in Srimad Bhagavatam. Who can estimate the limit of Jagannath Pandit's fortune? He himself is the example of his own great fortune. Anyone who hears about the loving exchanges between Jagadananda Pandit and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or who reads Jagadananda's book, Prema Vivarta, can understand what love is. Moreover, he achieves ecstatic love for Krishna. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Chapter 13. Pastimes with Jagadananda Pandit and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Let me take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Gaurachandra. His mind became exhausted and his body very thin from the pain of separation from Krishna. But when he felt ecstatic love for the Lord, he again became fully developed. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of the Lord. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would taste various transcendental relationships of pure love in the company of Jagadananda Pandit. The unhappiness of separation from Krishna exhausted the Lord's mind and reduced the structure of his body. But when he felt emotions of ecstatic love, he again became developed and healthy. Because he was very thin when he lay down to rest on the dry bark of plantain trees, it caused him pain in his bones. All the devotees felt very unhappy to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in pain. Indeed, they could not tolerate it. Then Jagadananda Pandit devised a remedy. He acquired some fine cloth and colored it with red oxide. Then he filled it with cotton from a simula tree. In this way he made a quilt and a pillow, which he then gave to Govinda, saying, "Ask the Lord to lie on this." Jagadananda said to Swarup Damodar Goswami, "Today please personally persuade Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to lie down on the bed." When it was time for the Lord to go to bed, Swarup Damodar stayed nearby. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the quilt and pillow, he was immediately very angry. The Lord inquired from Govinda, "Who has made this?" When Govinda named Jagadananda Pandit, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was somewhat fearful. After asking Govinda to put aside the quilt and pillow, the Lord lay down on the dry plantain bark. Swarup Damodar said to the Lord, "I cannot contradict your supreme will, my Lord, but if you do not accept the bedding, Jagadananda Pandit will feel great unhappiness." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "You might as well bring a bedstead here for me to lie on. Jagadananda wants me to enjoy material happiness. I am in the renounced order, and therefore I must lay on the floor. For me to use a bedstead, quilt, or pillow would be very shameful." When Swarup Damodar returned and related all these incidents, Jagadananda Pandit felt very unhappy. Then Swarup Damodar Goswami devised another method. First, he secured a large quantity of dry banana leaves. He then tore the leaves into very fine fibers with his nails and filled 2 of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's outer garments with the fibers. In this way, Swarup Damodar made some beddings and a pillow, and after much endeavor by the devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted them. Everyone was happy to see the Lord lie down on that bed, But Jagadananda was inwardly angry, and externally he appeared very unhappy. Formerly, when Jagadananda Pandit had desired to go to Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not given him permission, and therefore he could not go. Now, concealing his anger and unhappiness, Jagadananda Pandit again asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for permission to go to Mathura. With great affection, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "If you are angry with me, when you go to Mathura, you will merely become a beggar and criticize me." Grasping the Lord's feet, Jagadananda Pandit then said, "For a long time I have desired to go to Vrindavan. I could not go without your Lordship's permission. Now you must give me permission, and I shall certainly go there." Because of affection for Jagadananda Pandit, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not permit him to depart, but Jagadananda Pandit repeatedly insisted that the Lord give him permission to go. Jagadananda then submitted a plea to Swarup Damodar Goswami. "For a very long time," he said, "I have wanted to go to Vrindavan. I cannot go there, however, without the Lord's permission, which at present he denies me. He says, 'You are going because you are angry with me.'" Naturally, I have a desire to go to Vrindavan. Therefore, please humbly request him to grant his permission. Thereafter, Swarup Damodar Goswami submitted this appeal at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jagadananda Pandit intensely desires to go to Vrindavan. He begs for your permission again and again. Therefore, please permit him to go to Mathura and then return. You permitted him to go see Mother Sachi in Bengal, and you may similarly permit him to see Vrindavan and then return here. At the request of Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu granted Jagadananda Pandit permission to go. The Lord sent for him and instructed him as follows: "You may go as far as Varanasi without encountering disturbances, but beyond Varanasi, you should be very careful to travel on the path in the company of the Kshatriyas. As soon as the plunderers on the road see a Bengali traveling alone, they take everything from him, arrest him, and do not let him go. When you reach Mathura, you should remain with Sanatana Goswami and offer respectful obeisances to the feet of all the leading men there. Do not mix freely with the residents of Mathura. Show them respect from a distance, because you are on a different platform of devotional service. You cannot adapt their behavior or practices. Visit all 12 forests of Vrindavan in the company of Sanatana Goswami. Do not leave his association for even a moment. You should remain in Vrindavan for only a short time and then return here as soon as possible. Excuse me. Also, do not climb Govardhan Hill to see the Gopal deity. Inform Sanatana Goswami that I am coming to Vrindavan for a second time, and that he should therefore arrange a place for me to stay." After saying this, the Lord embraced Jagadananda Pandit, who then worshipped the Lord's lotus feet and started for Vrindavan. He took permission from all the devotees and then departed. Traveling on the forest path, he soon reached Varanasi. When he met Tapana Mishra and Chandra Sekhara in Varanasi, they heard from him about topics concerning Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Finally, Jagadananda Pandit reached Mathura, where he met Sanatana Goswami. They were very pleased to see each other. After Sanatan Goswami had taken Jagadananda to see all 12 forests of Vrindavan, concluding with Mahavan, the two of them remained in Gokula. They stayed in Sanatan Goswami's cave, but Jagadananda Pandit would go to a nearby temple and cook for himself. Sanatan Goswami would beg alms from door to door in the vicinity of Mahavan. Sometimes he would go to a temple and sometimes to a Brahmana's house. Sanatan Goswami attended to all of Jagannath Pandit's needs. He begged in the area of Mahavan and brought Jagadananda all kinds of things to eat and drink. One day, Jagadananda Pandit, having invited Sanatan to the nearby temple for lunch, finished his routine duties and began to cook. Previously, a great sannyasi named Mukunda Saraswati had given Sanatan Goswami an outer garment. Sanatan Goswami was wearing this cloth bound about his head when he came to Jagadananda Pandit's door and sat down. Assuming the reddish cloth to be a gift from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagadananda Pandit was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. Thus he questioned Sanatan Goswami, "Where did you get that reddish cloth on your head?" Jagadananda asked. Sanatan Goswami replied, "Mukunda Saraswati gave it to me." Hearing this, Jagadananda Pandit immediately became very angry and took a cooking pot in his hand, intending to beat Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami, however, knew Jagadananda Pandit very well and was consequently somewhat ashamed. Jagadananda therefore left the cooking pot on the stove and spoke as follows. "You are one of the chief associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, no one is dearer to him than you. Still you have bound your head with a cloth given to you by another sannyasi. Who can tolerate such behavior?" Sanatan Goswami said, "My dear Jagadananda Pandit, you are a greatly learned saint. No one is dearer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu than you. This faith in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quite befits you. Unless you demonstrate it, how could I learn such faith? My purpose is binding my head with the cloth has now been fulfilled, because I have personally seen your uncommon love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This saffron cloth is unfit for a Vaishnava to wear. Therefore I have no use for it. I shall give it to a stranger." When Jagadananda Pandit finished cooking, he offered the food to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he and Sanatan Goswami sat down and ate the prasadam. After eating the prasadam, they embraced each other and cried, due to separation from Lord Chaitanya. They passed 2 months in Vrindavan in this way. Finally, they could not longer tolerate the unhappiness of separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jagadananda Pandit therefore gave Sanatan Goswami the message from the Lord. "I am also coming to Vrindavan. Please arrange a place for me to stay." When Sanatan Goswami granted permission for Jagadananda Pandit to return to Jagannath Puri, he gave Jagadananda some gifts for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The gifts consisted of some sand from the site of the Rasa Lila, a stone from Govardhan Hill, dry ripened pilu fruits, and a garland of small conch shells. Thus Jagadananda Pandit, bearing all the gifts, started on his journey. Sanatan Goswami, however, was very much agitated after bidding him farewell. Soon afterwards, Sanatan Goswami selected a place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could stay while in Vrindavan. It was a temple in the highlands, named Dvadasaditya. Sanatan Goswami kept the temple very clean and in good repair. In front of it he erected a small hut. Meanwhile, traveling very quickly, Jagadananda Pandit soon arrived in Jagannath Puri, much to the joy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees. After offering prayers at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagadananda Pandit greeted everyone. Then the Lord embraced Jagadananda very strongly. Jagadananda Pandit offered obeisances to the Lord on behalf of Sanatan Goswami. Then he gave the Lord the dust from the side of the rasa dance, along with the other gifts. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept all the gifts except the pilu fruits, which he distributed to the devotees. Because the fruits were from Vrindavan, everyone ate them with great happiness. Those devotees who were familiar with pilu fruits sucked on the seeds, but the Bengali devotees who did not know what they were chewed the seeds and swallowed them. The hot, chili-like taste burned the tongues of those who chewed the seeds. Thus the eating of pilu fruits from Vrindavan became a pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Jagadananda Pandit returned from Vrindavan, everyone was jubilant. Excuse me. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed his pastimes while residing at Jagannath Puri. One day, when the Lord was going to the temple of Jameshvara, a female singer began to sing in the Jagannath temple. She sang a Gujari tune in a very sweet voice, and because the subject was Jayadev Goswami's Gita Govinda, the song attracted the attention of the entire world. Hearing the song from a distance, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately became ecstatic. He did not know whether it was a man or a woman singing. As the Lord ran in ecstasy to meet the singer, thorny hatches pricked his body. Govinda ran quickly behind the Lord, who did not feel any pain from the pricking of the thorns. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was running very rapidly, and the girl was only a short distance away. Just then Govinda caught the Lord in his arms and cried, "It is a woman singing." As soon as he heard the word woman, the Lord became externally conscious and turned back. "My dear Govinda," he said, "you have saved my life. If I had touched the body of a woman, I would certainly have died. I shall never be able to repay my debt to you." Govinda replied, "Lord Jagannath has saved you. I am insignificant." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "My dear Govinda, you should stay with me always. There is danger anywhere and everywhere. Therefore you should protect me very carefully." After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned home. When Swarup Damodar Goswami and his other attendants heard about the incident, they became very much afraid. During this time, Raghunath Bhattacharya, the son of Tapanar Mishra, gave up all his duties and left home, intending to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Accompanied by a servant carrying his baggage, Raghunath Bhatta started from Varanasi and travelled along the path leading through Bengal. In Bengal, he met Ramdas Vishvasha, who belonged to the Kayasta caste. He was one of the king's secretaries. Ramdas Vishvasha was very learned in all the revealed scriptures. He was a teacher of the famous book Kavya Prakash and was known as an advanced devotee and worshipper of Raghunath, Lord Ramachandra. Ramdas had renounced everything and was going to see Lord Jagannath. While traveling, he chanted the holy name of Lord Rama 24 hours a day. When he met Raghunath Bhatta on the way, he took Raghunath's baggage on his head and carried it. Ramdas served Raghunath Bhatta in various ways, even massaging his legs. Raghunath Bhatta felt some hesitation in accepting all his service. You are a respectful gentleman, a learned scholar, and a great devotee, Raghunath Bhatta said. Please do not try to serve me, just come with me in a happy mood. Ramdas replied, I am a Sudra, a fallen soul. To serve a Brahmana is my duty and religious principle. Therefore, please do not be hesitant. I'm your servant. I'm your servant, and when I serve you, my heart becomes jubilant. Thus Ramdas carried the baggage of Raghunath Bhatta and served him sincerely. He constantly chanted the holy name of Lord Ramachandra, day and night. Okay, we continue tomorrow. Stop here. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 13, the pastimes with Jagadananda Pandit and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Sile Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopala Govindaram Srimad Sudama Gopala Govindaram Srimad Sudama Giridhari Govinda Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sila Devi Swami Maharaj ki Jai Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur ki Sabashara Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki Sabashara Sima Mahaprabhu ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyamakula Radha Kunkiri Govardhan ki Tulasi Narayana ki Ganga Yamuna Ju ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Sri Navadvitam ki Sri Mayapur ki Sri Vrindavan ki Sri Purushottam ki Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat West London Chapter ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat East London Chapter ki Samanta Vaishnava Mandala ki Samanta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Harinam Sankirtan ki Nitai Gaura